You know those moments in life? Maybe you know them a little too well. When everything just feels connected, but in the absolute worst way. Like, first you lose your job, then a family member says something harsh, and then, on top of it all, you start feeling sick. It's too much to be a coincidence, right? Well, let's dive into exactly what's going on here and figure out how to get back to some clarity. Yeah, when things start stacking up like that, it's so easy for your mind to go to a place like this. To start wondering, is the world actually punishing me? If you've ever felt like you're being targeted or that the universe has it out for you, this one's for you. We're going to break down exactly why this happens and, more importantly, map out a clear path to feeling grounded again. So, where does a feeling like that even begin? Well, it usually starts when a bunch of painful things happen all at once or really close together. Your brain just gets completely overwhelmed. And you have to understand, psychologically, the human mind hates uncertainty. It just can't stand it. It craves a reason, any reason, for the pain. And I really need to be crystal clear about this, okay? If your brain starts cooking up a story to explain everything that's going on, that is not a personal failing. It's not a sign of weakness, not at all. It's actually a deep-seated survival instinct. Your mind is just doing its job. It's trying to make sense of the chaos to keep you safe. Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating. It's about the kind of story your brain prefers to tell itself. See, when life feels totally out of control, our minds will often latch onto a narrative that has a villain, a bad guy, even if that story is absolutely terrifying. And there's a really specific kind of weird reason for that. So here's the core of it. Your brain would rather believe someone did this to me than accept the simple, chaotic truth that, hey, life is just unpredictable. And why is that? Well, think about it. A villain, that implies logic, right? It implies a cause and effect, a structure. And if there's a structure, well, maybe there's a way to fight back, a way to have some control. But randomness, pure chaos, to our survival-focused brain, that feels profoundly, deeply unsafe. Okay, so that leads to the big question, right? If there's no actual conspiracy, why does our brain get so convinced there is one? Why on earth does it start weaving together totally unrelated events into one big, sinister plot against us? Well, the answer has a name. It's a psychological concept called pattern over detection. It's basically this. When you're under a ton of stress, your brain goes into hyper-alert mode. It's like its threat detector is cranked up to 11. And as a protective measure, it starts seeing connections between things that aren't connected at all. And I have to say it again, this isn't madness. It's just a symptom of being completely overloaded. And this feeling of being overloaded, it's not just in your head. Oh no. You feel that stress physically, like through your entire body. Let's really dig into how this builds, because the connection between your mind and your body is incredibly powerful here. I mean, just think about these kinds of stressors for a second. We've all dealt with some of them. Getting rejected from a job, facing criticism from your family, financial pressure, maybe a really embarrassing social moment. When that stuff happens, your nervous system just kicks straight into survival mode. Your stress hormones like cortisol, they spike. Your sleep goes out the window. Your immune system gets weaker. And before you know it, you're physically sick, you're exhausted, and it feels like your own body has turned against you. And get this is some wild science right here. The pain you feel from social rejection, from being blamed or shamed by people, it activates the exact same parts of your brain as a physical injury. So when you say it hurts, it literally hurts. It's not just a metaphor. And that pain, it makes you feel so isolated, so targeted, so betrayed, and all of that just pours gasoline on the fire of that pattern over detection we were talking about. So you see all of these pieces, the stress, the physical sickness, the social pain, they don't just exist side by side. Nope. They feed into each other. They create this powerful self-reinforcing cycle, almost like a downward spiral. And this is what we call the dangerous thought loop. And here's a perfect breakdown of how that loop works. Step 1, something goes wrong. It's simple enough. Then maybe people blame you for it. So, step 3, you feel this immense shame. Step 4, your body reacts to all that stress. And step 5, you get sick. After all of that, your brain, the storyteller, looks at all the pieces on the board and comes to one single conclusion. This is not random. No way. Someone caused this. And once that story takes hold, well, our old friend confirmation bias shows up to the party. Your brain starts actively looking for evidence to prove the story is true. You start noticing every little thing. Who has power over you, who criticized you that one time, who seems to be doing great while you're struggling. The whole narrative feels so real, so convincing. But this is probably one of the most important things to remember in all of this. Just because something feels real, that doesn't make it true.
All right, so we've really unpacked the problem. We see the loop, we get how it works. Now let's talk about the most important part. How do you break out of it? This is where we get into your psychological reset, a clear, actionable plan to get back to feeling stable.
First things first, we have to reframe this whole situation. I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not cursed. You are not being targeted by some hidden enemy. You are overwhelmed. That's it. And the really good news? Being overwhelmed is a condition, not a life sentence. It can absolutely be treated. So here it is, your 3-step reset. It's super practical. Number 1, get a medical checkup. Let's just rule out any actual physical stuff right off the bat. No guessing games. Number 2, focus on regulating your nervous system. And I'm talking about the absolute basics. Sleep, regular meals, getting outside for a walk, some sunlight. Seriously, don't underestimate this stuff. And number 3, get an outside perspective. Talk to a counselor, a therapist, or even just a neutral friend who's a good listener. And listen, this isn't because you're broken and need fixing. It's because your brain just needs a little help stabilizing so it can start to see clearly again. And while you're working on those steps, here's a really powerful tool you can start using literally right now. It's one simple, grounding question. Just ask yourself this. If there was no hidden enemy, no conspiracy, what would be the absolute simplest explanation for my situation? And chances are, the simplest explanation is usually some mix of these things. You're under a ton of stress, maybe you're in a tough environment, you made some mistakes, or just human imperfection. That's the real thing. And please, remember this, your mistakes are not your identity. They're just events. They happened. They're not who you are.
Look, your mind's number one job is to protect you. That's what it's designed to do. And sometimes it overcorrects. It creates these big, scary stories out of fear to try and make sense of the chaos. But you have the power to guide it back. You're not crazy, you're just overwhelmed. And the way out isn't to fight shadows in the dark. It's to turn on the light, to choose reality over the story of fear. Because at the end of the day, clarity is always stronger than fear.